We have an in-joke we call fleur de sel Camargue caviar. Why Camargue caviar? Because it's an outstanding product and it's also very beautiful. Not only is it delicious, it looks nice. Look at it, it glistens.
In the south of France, there is a wild and protected area, the Camargue. It is a vast wetland where the river meets the sea. At the heart of this staggeringly beautiful landscape is the Aigues-Mortes salt marsh. The lagoons on the Rhone's delta are home to some incredible flora and fauna. Aigues-Mortes is a surreal-looking citadel standing in the middle of the marshes overlooking the lagoons. Its main source of income can be found at the foot of its ramparts, salt. Salt mining has been going on here since antiquity. Salt water is pumped out of the Mediterranean and stored in ponds, where it evaporates on contact with the sun and the wind. Then it turns into brine. And now it's time for it to crystallize. Armed with waders and shovels, Luc Verne's team of salt gatherers starts work at dawn. They spend the summer weeks harvesting fleur de sel.
Always pay attention to the quality. That's good, because you can't see anything on the surface. There are no mosquitoes. Now, what you're harvesting is great. And the sun's coming up. You can see it starting to shine, so that's good. Don't miss any, you lot. You know that.
Whilst the rock salt drops to the bottom of the salt marsh, the fleur de sel floats to the surface and accumulates round the edges. It is collected by hand with a shovel, using traditional methods.
A good salt harvester is someone who likes being in nature. We collect between 20 and 22 tons of salt per day, so it's a very physical job. You mustn't be afraid of inclement weather, and that includes temperatures of 35 to 36 degrees in summer. Watch what you're doing. Watch out. I've been doing this job for over 40 years, and I've been overseeing the harvesting of fleur de sel here for about 25 years. Of course, things have changed. Volumes of harvest have changed, but we still use a hand shovel.
White gold extracted from a Red Sea. This miracle only occurs once a year, in summer. The water in the lagoons turns red. A microalga is responsible for this phenomenon. It reacts to the high salt content and the high temperatures. It's a surreal color that is scrutinized by salt workers.
The red's pretty. It's aesthetically pleasing for passers-by, but for us, when it's too red, it's not good. Let me explain why. Fleur de sel has a lot of magnesium in it. That's what causes the proliferation of red. And the more grams of magnesium there are per litre, the more difficult it is for us. Simply because it starts to congeal into a paste, and that's not good for us. Because when that paste begins to form, we can no longer harvest the fleur de sel. This colour's perfect. The water's still liquid, it's not too viscous. It's still within the margins of what's acceptable. Let's hope it continues like this until the end of August, then we'll have a good harvest.
Sales of this 100% natural product are booming. But it only became a household ingredient very recently. 30 years ago, fleur de sel was a precious asset that the salt harvesters kept for themselves.
When I started working here in the early 80s, we always ate on site. Some people ate in canteens and farmhouses, but we ate on the salt marshes. And the older workers would go up to the edge of the crystallizing ponds and gather some fleur de sel to salt their food. We tasted it and it was delicious, so one day we decided to start harvesting it. To start with, we'd get 20 or 30 tons of a morning. Then all the salt workers started harvesting it, and as the years went on, we collected more and more. What happened then was we had to organize a proper harvest. We had 100 tons of the stuff, then 150 tons, and now we sell up to 500, 600 tons. That'll do, guys. Off you go.
Pale pink and lightly perfumed when it's harvested, fleur de sel turns bright white as it dries. It's very wet when it's collected, and the salt workers must wait 10 to 12 months before packaging it.
We have an in-joke we call fleur de sel Camargue caviar. Why Camargue caviar? Because it's an outstanding product and it's also very beautiful. Not only is it delicious, it looks nice. And look at it, it glistens.
The pale red colour of the fleur de sel when it's harvested is also found in some of the species that populate the marshes. The algae present in these waters are rich in a natural colourant, which also colours the shrimps eaten by the famous pink flamingos.
These birds symbolize the Camargue. We see them every day on our rounds. We have the biggest colony of flamingos in the region here. Flamingos come to the salt marshes to rest. They live here too. They're left in peace here because no one ever comes here. If there were no salt marshes here, there'd be no flamingos in our region.
Born at the foot of the ramparts of Aigues-Mortes, Luc Verne has never left the area.
This reminds me of when I was a boy. When I was about 8 or 10, we used to cycle from Aigues-Mortes to the sea. It was wonderful cycling across the marshes. We had time to go to the sea by bike. It must be 6 or 8 kilometers away, so that's not bad going. These vast expanses of red bring back memories. Red is the color of summer because that's when the pools are in use. The sun turns them this deep red color. Look around you. Red's the dominant color.